Hi, boys and girls. I'm going to show you where you can find your science assignment for 0405, turn up the volume. And we're going to go over what you need to do for that assignment. I'm going to start by clicking into the science course. Module 3 is where you're going to find lessons for this week. We're looking at 0405, turn up the volume. And you're, of course, going to go through the entire lesson. There's a couple of practice like a scientist experiments in here that I've linked in the announcement on Buzz, so you can watch those videos of the experiments being done. Your assignment can be found on the last page of the lesson. You'll also find that these worksheets are throughout the lesson as well. They're attached throughout the lesson, but of course, they're always at the end. And you have two things here for this week or for this lesson. You've got turn up the volume part 1 and turn up the volume part 2. You do need to complete both part 1 and part 2 to get full credit for this assignment. I'm going to open up part 1. For this assignment, you are going to be looking at graduated cylinders and beakers and determining how much liquid is in both of the graduated cylinders and the beakers. For some reason, it's taking a bit. Okay. So for the first page, you are observing the containers and you are identifying the volume in each container, and you're going to record that on the line here. Please don't forget your units. So for this first one, it's zoomed in so that you can see. And notice that when we're reading a graduated cylinder or a beaker, we look at the bottom line. If you notice, the liquid kind of curves up, and you've got a light line and then a dark line on top. We're going to look at the bottom line. So the amount of liquid in this beaker is 4,000 milliliters. So I would write 4,000 milliliters on the line here. We always look at that bottom line. Okay, you've got a graduated cylinder here. It's a zoomed in view. And here's another view where you can actually see the liquid and it kind of curves up. Okay, we're going to look at the bottom line of that liquid, and that's where we're going to get the measurement. Okay, and then on your second page, you've got to observe the volume in each container and then find the difference. So for this first one, you obviously want to look at the one that has the most amount of volume, and that's 100 milliliters. And again, we're looking at that bottom line of the liquid. And in this graduated cylinder, the liquid is at 50 milliliters. So we would do 100 milliliters minus 50 milliliters, and that equals 50 milliliters. So our answer would be 50 milliliters. Okay, so you're going to do that for all of these. You're going to find the difference. Okay, and don't get confused where this is a beaker and this is a graduated cylinder. Just look at the numbers. Okay, look at the numbers. Whichever has the most, you're going to start with, and then subtract the one that has the least from that one. Okay, so that's part 1. And then for part 2, you are going to track water as you go through your day. So it says water is extremely important to the survival of all living things. Now you can observe how often you use water and what states of water you use throughout your day. Starting when you first wake up, first thing in the morning, track the water you use in the table below. Each time you use water, describe the properties of it. So for example, I wake up, first thing I do is brush my teeth. So time of day, let's say I wake up at 6:30, I write the time and the use of water. So I would write 6 a.m. Water used to brush teeth. State of water, well, when I brush my teeth, the state of water is a liquid, so I would write liquid. And the properties of the water, well, I like to brush my teeth with cooler water, so I could write cold. I could say, I have the water on for a total of 15 seconds. I try to turn my water off as I brush my teeth. I turn it on to wet my toothbrush, and then as I'm brushing my teeth, I might turn it off and then turn it back on to rinse my mouth. So maybe count the amount of seconds you have that water on. You can put that in there. That kind of will tell you how much water you use. I used 15 seconds worth of water. And that's kind of like the amount that you use. Let's say later in the morning, I'm going to get some, maybe some OJ and put some ice in my OJ. So I would write ice in my juice. State of water, well, ice would be a solid, so I would write solid here, and then the properties of that ice cube, describing the ice cube. And then let's say that for lunch I make some pasta. Okay, so I used water to boil pasta, and as that water boiled, the water kind of evaporated a little bit. So you could put even evaporation, and in state of water here, you could put that you started with a liquid and it turned into it evaporated as you added heat. Okay, and then you would describe the properties of water. So as you're going through your day, you're going to just track when you use water in any state. It doesn't have to just be water like in liquid form that you're drinking. Anytime you use water, whether it's in a solid form, a gas form, or a liquid form, okay? So for that, you're going to need to do both of those, part 1 and part 2, to get full credit. And you're going to submit both part 1 and part 2 on the submission page by clicking on that blue plus button and adding your attachments.